No, no more! That's it! I don't care! I didn't care anymore. I didn't care about being better than Kakarot. I didn't care about being a Super Saiyan. I didn't care if I lived. I didn't care about anything. And then it happened.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Sanasy here, back with another week of the KCM. Here with Shun, starting off game number 1 on Blue Storm, Best versus Royal. Let's get it started. Okay, Best spawning here in the top right-hand corner, Royal in the bottom left. How you doing today, Shun?
I'm doing great today, Sam. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. We got a great lineup here. Gonna have some fun. Hopefully we'll get a good series.
Yeah, it looks like we've got some similar names from last week. We've got Light, Royal, and Best, and we still got Soma, Queen, and Action for the Zerg lineup. But we got some newcomers to this KCM so far. We got Mini, Shuttle, and JYJ. Very strong players, all three of them. So this could be an absolute roller coaster of emotions of a series. I'm really curious to see what race is going to pull it out this week.
So far, Protoss has been a bit of a flat line in the points ranking. 0 so far. So bringing out Shuttle here and Mini, see if they can get up on that points board. But what do you think about Blue Storm here with Protoss versus Terran? That's our first match.
I'm not actually too excited about it from Royal's perspective. I'm not sure how easy it is going to be for him to get a third gas. It's going to be a pretty nightmare situation for him. It does look like we also see a very fast probe scout from Best going to be blocking the barracks being placed for Royal. So really annoying, going to shut down this timing. He could also go for a gas steal as a follow-up. Does finally get that barracks down, and now maybe with a gas steal to follow it up.
Oh, so annoying here. Best taking advantage of the two-player map. This is always a problem the Terran players face, but I like what you said about the difficulty of taking a third gas here. Third gas is way over at the top left-hand corner. That's probably the gas that Roy will end up taking if he ever does get a gas. But how will Best play it out? Knowing that there is going to be that really difficult third gas, what kind of advantages can he take from that?
Well, he likes to play very Zealot heavy Gateway Man style as well, and he has a very close mineral expansion for him to take, so if he wants he could play pretty aggressive in the mid game and just rain down on Royal with floods of speed Zealots with maybe just like one control group worth of Dragoons and maybe using some speed shuttles and storms eventually to kind of whittle down the army of Royal while he's still struggling to get by with only 2 gas production.
Well, that's definitely his normal strategy. With the extra mineral-only base that Roll is probably going to take as his third, we may end up seeing a lot of extra vultures, so Zealots in that case are not going to be as good. Oh, he does get the gas down, but I don't know if Best is willing to switch up his strategy.
Yeah, I'm not sure Best will switch up his strategy on Blue Storm. I don't think we'll necessarily see carriers out of him on this map. It's possible, but Best doesn't usually like to go for 2-based carrier, so I don't think we'll see that out of him. He did try and get the second gas steal, which would have been interesting, but instead just going to be throwing down like a 22 Nexus timing. So I really like this from Best so far. He's kind of not only slowed down Royal a little bit, but he's also being a bit greedy, throwing down that Nexus before gas.
What do you think about Arbiters on this map?
Arbiters are pretty strong on this map. It can be very difficult to get back into your main base to defend against recalls later in the stages, and obviously Stasis always has like really good value at dealing with Terran pushes and tanks in general. However, at the pro level caliber, I would say that Arbiters start to lose their value a little bit because the Terran players get better and better at dealing with them.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that with the lack of gas, it's going to be hard to get into something like a science vessel with EMP, so that might actually be a strong play. I'm not sure. I'm not pro at this matchup. I'm not a pro at all, but definitely this is my least played matchup. And this is the matchup I find the most frustrating. So, oh god, 3 zealots coming up here. That zealot from behind is so clutch, but this is a lot of marines and dealing a ton of DPS to this. 1 zealot is left remaining. 3 marines have been taken down. Oh, is he gonna lose the last one? No. Okay. Quite the trade there.
Best has made a lot of zealots. He didn't get such a late gas saying that he's been pumping like more or less non-stop zealots. So he's been made like 5 zealots, I think, in total. He's still going to be putting on pressure. And these 2 marines are softened up, so this zealot might get some more damage done. Maybe even the cancel on the... Oh no! The marines got body blocked and couldn't get through the gap. Oh, that happens to so many Terran players, and you see Artosis raging on his stream all the time about it. I can imagine it's really frustrating. I haven't experienced it much myself as a Zerg player, but it's always funny when I see it.
God, they were just stuttering, like kind of spasming out on top of each other. That was so weird. Just didn't want to go between those 2 buildings there. They're supposed to be good for the defense, but oh, it's going to pull a bunch of SCVs here. They are part of the transfer, but also going to help to kind of secure this natural here. Oh, this how many zealots have we had so far? This is, I think, zealot number 5 that's about to go down. Another marine does fall, and a 6th zealot coming here. This is a crazy amount of zealot pressure.
I think there's 7 zealots total, actually.
Wild.
He's
Absolutely
made a total
wild.
of 7 zealots. That's crazy.
Going into a really fast robotic support bay here. Yes, Reaver will be the follow-up. We're all kind of pushing out on the map, looking for those additional zealots. Hasn't seen a Dragoon yet. Is going to go across the map here and put on some of the pressure of his own. We'll see how this goes, because the Dragoon is out here going to meet up with it near the center. Oh, this could take a lot of damage. No, he doesn't step forward with the tank, try to get the moving shot at all, so not actually getting much damage. Oh, he's actually going to block this. Oh, that was some pretty close mine. One more mine? No, not going to throw it down. Just about gets that Dragoon, but Best manages to slip away.
Yeah, Royal did a really great job of trying to body block that Dragoon. Not only would he maybe have gotten the mine off of it, but just body blocking it a little bit to maybe let the tank catch up and get a few more shots off on it would have been huge. I really like to see that from Royal. Really great control there.
Yeah, just taking advantage of the slightly faster movement speed of the Vulture here before speed upgrade is done. Follow-up drop into the main. Where are Best Dragoons right now? They're way out here at the 3rd. Will they be able to get back in time? There is a pylon.
There is a spotted pylon, but these Dragoons have to be very quick. He's like going straight for their natural. Maybe he's going to drop 2 in here, or all of them here. I think just 2 in here, and then the rest in the main. I think that's going to be the play. Yeah, it is. Already starting to gun down 2 probes, maybe a 3rd, and the rest of the Vultures now running into the main base, laying mines behind the army of Best. Still not only cut off reinforcements, but also some nice mine trades, while then going into the probe line in the main, forcing another drill from the main to the natural, are still harvesting so many probe kills. So we're all doing a great job of getting a lot of value out of this initial Vulture drop so far.
Oh, he's sending the probes back too early. Oh, this is so painful. A bunch more probes going down here, like 4 or 5 extra probes dying just because of that early transfer back from Best. A big mistake there, but can he get any damage on the other side of the map? Oh, a Wraith kills the shuttle.
Such a good Wraith.
Wow. Really good play here from Royal to follow up the Wraith.
I really love it when Terrans get that just singular Wraith to just shut down any kind of early shuttle play from the Protoss player, and especially if they haven't got shuttle speed, that Wraith is able to catch the shuttle so easily. And now we see a big counter push coming out from Royal, a 3 tank move out.
Still has the dropship alive as well. He could try to shuttle some Vultures into the back, into the main base while this attack is going on. He's setting up right here near this choke. This is dirty with 2 Wraiths to spawn here. These tanks are going to be able to do so much damage. This mineral line base down in the bottom right is under threat as well. Mines are being set up. This looks like such a nice position for Royal. I love the way he's maneuvered this game.
Yeah, he's really exploiting the map thus far, and Best is going to have to go all the way around to challenge these tanks. There's no way they can really come through this tiny little gap here. So, yeah, I think Best is in a bit of trouble. He's going to have to try and minesweep out into the middle of the map and eventually engage these tanks. But right now he's getting his mining shut down in his natural, so he's looking in a really bad way.
Another few probes are going to go down here in the third base. More run-bys, just adding to the good position here for Royal. His factors are finishing up in the main base as well. He's still hitting this Nexus. Oh god, it's getting super, super low. That's going to lose that. And Royal just crushing it right now. I love the strategy.
Yeah, he's even scanning and killing observers with the Wraiths. He's getting like every drop of value out of the unit composition he's chosen. Looks like Best is now going to go for the surround and try and pincer this army while it's in retreat. He may try and scoop up some of these tank kills as they're on the exit, and he is getting on top of them now, taking out one of the vultures and trying to flank the tanks from the northern threshold, and maybe gets one of them, does get one of them, and now trying to corner this other one, push him down to the south, and then maybe get this one as well. It's a great little pick off from Best. He needs every little thing he can get right now, but there's another vulture drop in the main stand.
This is a tank drop, actually. 2 tanks in here. This is a very high value. Oh no, only 1 tank. 1 tank, 1 vulture. I thought I saw 2 jump in there. Mine. What?
The probe shot down the mine. That was really good target fire from Best there.
Oh,
he used the probes to help kill the mine.
Oh man, he's gonna get a bunch of kills here though. 4 kills and 1 shot, and another probe kill there. I don't know if that was worth it though. I mean, it's pretty good, and he's still getting more hits here. God, that was so close with the mine.
Yeah, that one mine detonation could have like made like 7 probes just go up in smoke. Best has done an okay job at dealing with those vulture drops, but he's taken way too many probe kills in the process. So I think Royals just outmaneuvered him, out-multitasked him a little bit, and now it's looking pretty dire for Best. He did reduce the tank count ever so slightly, but the expansion path of Best has been slowed down exponentially. Like, he could probably maybe taking a 4th base right now, and in the meantime he's having to retake his natural, so he's really far behind the economic curve of this game.
So 3 or 4 tanks have been killed so far on the side of Royal, but his army supply is looking decent. 97 to 91. He's actually ahead right now. He scans, gets the observer as well. So valuable here to pick that off in this moment. That minefield will remain, keeping Best off of his high ground for now.
Because Royal's been doing such a good job of reducing the observer count of Best, he's having to keep either squeezing out observers, which is chewing up all of his gas, or furthermore, it's also making it much harder for Best to get out on the map and sweep out these minefields. So Royal's doing a great job of having a lot of map control and forcing Best to fight for every inch of space.
Yeah, that's not something you see very often. 3 Wraiths added into this army, and it's even more surprising considering we're not going to have a 3rd gas anytime soon here. So putting money into those units that are rarely ever used, it seems crazy, but it's working out so crazy well right now for Royal.
And because of the nature of the way the game's gone, and Best was unable to take his 4th base as a mineral only to get a bit more economy, he's going to be forced into a much more gas-heavy unit composition, so he's going to be making a lot more Dragoons and other gas-tech-heavy units, which is not usually his comfortable playstyle. So Royal's kind of forced Best into like a situation where he's not really playing the strategy he wants to play, or at least will be slowed down by at least a couple of minutes in achieving that strategy. So Best now trying to take his mineral only to catch up in economy, to set up to be able to produce a lot of Zealots, but it's so slowed down by this point. I think Royal's going to take his 3rd and 4th more or less uncontested for a while.
Yeah, we'll see if that happens here. The supply is just looking so good right now for Royal, but Best is definitely not out of this. 1 good engage he's got. The Templar Archives finished. Storm will be out soon. You know, Storms can really change the matchup completely.
That's essentially what Best has to do. He has to slow the game down and drag it out and eventually get to higher tech units where he can just start blanketing the army of Royal with Storms to try and get as much cost effectiveness as possible. The shuttle is going to maybe go down to the Wraiths, and it does.
So surprised that we saw another shuttle with Reavers be produced. We know there's a ton of Wraiths out here. He's been very good at sniping everything. The shuttle coming in here, gonna pick up those Reavers. get them out of harm's way. But it's just not paid off for him this game at all. Shuttles have been constantly getting shot down.
I wish more Terran players would go for these Wraiths and snipe the shuttles more. It really does work well, but it does require a lot more execution from the Terran player to keep the Wraiths safe. But oh, look at that Scarab! It dudded on those tanks. It had to go travel so far to reach the tanks. It just dudded out.
Yeah, unfortunate there, but he's gonna take another shot. Oh no, the shuttle out of position, and a Reaver goes down. So painful.
Yeah, another Reaver's on red HP as well, so it'll only take one more tank shot to be taken out. So Best in a world of hurt right now. He's trying to buy time to get out a big enough army to engage this. He's just trying to slow down the Terran push as much as possible, force him to re-siege as many times while moving across the middle of the map, so that Best can squeeze out as many rounds of units as he can. As we can now see, he's got a few control groups of Zealots to support these Dragoons to finally try and engage and get on top of this army. There isn't actually a lot of tanks here right now, so if Best can maneuver this correctly, he might be able to clean up this army, but it's going to be a tall order since right now there is a high ground advantage for Royal. Shuttle dropping a Reaver and Zealots in the natural expansion of Royal to force some of the army back, maybe to draw some of the army away from the front, so then he can try and set up a pincer maneuver on Royal here.
A Royal in a really nice position. We'll see if Bez can break it. This high ground is very, very tough to get on top of, but the Zealots are here, diving on top of these units. The Templar are making their way forward as well. He should be throwing that down on the Vultures. Really good one there. Gonna push through on the left side as well. He clears this entrenched position from Royal very, very handily. And we'll continue to push forward here. Vulture's going to be retreating on the high ground. Best? Has he done it? He's turned this game around.
He's turned the game around enough so far. That's really good for Best. Like, he basically essentially reset the tank count to a manageable number, and now it'll be much harder for Royal to secure his fourth gas. So that has essentially put Best back in the game for sure.
You just really can't underestimate Best's ability to hold down the Z button and make a ton of Zealots. This guy makes so many units. His macro is so fluid and efficient, able to overwhelm that huge army from Royal, even in a great position there, and might be looking to do it again. He's brought his army supply back up here with a ton more Zealots. He's pushing forward up towards the high ground. Royal's army is split right now. This is a great opportunity to pick off a bunch of tanks. Here we go.
It looks like Zealot's going to be streaming in on move command as well. You want to get right on top of that Terran army. You don't want to move in with attack move. And beautiful storms being laid down onto the tanks and Vultures to soften up the Vultures so that they can't just mop up the Zealots too efficiently. And the Zealots are making short work of the tanks and Vultures. So great play from Best. Once again, going to be resetting that Dragoon count while also taking the 6 o'clock expansion, going up to 5 base economy. And Royal still now trying to get this top left base under control, but if Best can keep pushing into him, reducing this army count, eventually Best will be able to start laying siege to some of these expansions by securing this high ground peninsula. Looks like there's just barely enough Terran to mop up the few remaining units of the Protoss though, so Royal for the time being going to be maintaining control of this high ground, which is going to be so crucial to him for staying in this game.
Yeah, that third gas, so important. He's just taking it now. Here comes some storms. Pretty darn good, but the splits are also decent, keeping a lot of that SCV line alive. There's your first science vessel out here. Royal finally getting his tech completed. It's not going to help too much against storm drops, though. You can't really EMP that.
I would still favor Royal's position in this game. He's still in a good position. The only thing I don't like from Royal is I think like he pushed out way too early. I think he should have been a lot more passive in this game and gone for a more turtle upgrade style and just held the high ground peninsula and made use of his 4 gas and then build up a 200 army and then try and engage Best. But there was no reason really to push Best at that stage in the game, I think. So I think it was a slight misplay from Royal, but he's still ahead in the game ever so slightly.
Yeah, this map is characterized by the lack of resources. We don't have that much money here left. Only one more base to be taken. That's the 12 o'clock. Could go to either Royal or Best. Whoever ends up taking that may end up winning this game. We got Best clearing some mines here. He's ready with 2 shuttles to try and break through. This is a very hard position to run up, though. He's gonna drop zealots to help clear the mines and then drive his army through here. He's taking a lot of his DPS, wasting it on this barracks. Now finally gonna clear that and start to head up this hill, but a lot of the zealots have already died. Here comes the storms. No, there's just not enough here. I think that Royal just gonna hold this easily.
Yeah, there's definitely not enough here, and all the zealots were kind of like glitching out behind the dragoons and couldn't engage properly. There are some high templars going to be sniped off by Royal instantly. As soon as they came into the front line, they were absolutely obliterated by Royal, really on top of everything right now, and Best slightly falling apart and trying desperately to keep engaging this army to reduce its potency, but so far being unsuccessful.
Oh man, that is so rough. Those 3 Templars can make or break you in a game like this when it's so neck and neck. 3 big storms can crush an army if placed correctly, but they end up going down so quickly. That storm's gonna miss as well. Maybe one more storm here. Could have a Templar in this shuttle, but it looks like we're just gonna bring up some Goliaths to clear that, and he does. Unfortunate there for Best. His harassments have just not gone to plan this game at all.
No, not at all, and he hasn't even got the production that he needs right now. There's not quite enough gateway production, so Best in a little bit of trouble. He's not able to max out quick enough. So he's trying to do these like small skirmishes where he's like maintaining a goon count. So he's got like a control group of goons at least at the front 24/7 while he's pumping out a few extra Templar and Zealots and shuttles. But because Royal kind of reached his critical mass, he's always able to stay above this sort of like 140 supply threshold, which is basically what he needs to weather the storm of whatever Best throws at him. So as long as he's maintaining his tank count throughout these engagements and most of these zealots are being cleared up, Royal's going to be trading more and more cost efficiently as the game progresses, and he will start to isolate Best out of this 12 o'clock location, and he will be taking it soon.
Another storm drop failed here. I hope there wasn't more than 1 or 2 Templar in that. Could have been a really big loss there. I guess we'll never know.
I'd imagine he wouldn't load more than 1 or 2 Templars in that drop. With how often they've been dying, I don't think he would invest more than 1 or 2 Templars at a time at this stage.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that Royal's slowly creeping his way towards the 12 o'clock here with turrets, mines, tanks spread out everywhere. It looks to me like he's going for a strangulation play, not with any intention of actually pushing and trying to take on Best head on. He just wants to deny this base, to hold on to this position and starve Best out of this game.
Yeah, the only way he loses this game is by pushing too quickly and becoming overwhelmed, or by like a recall into the main, which he doesn't have to worry about right now. So yeah, right now he just needs to slowly push across the map, take this strong middle high ground position while taking 12 o'clock and eventually starving Best out of the game. It's a very good tactical way of approaching this game from Royal.
Oh man, he puts another D-Matrix down. D-Matrix completely negates the effects of Storm, so Best wasting, I think, 4 storms on that one single tank, doesn't manage to kill it. Now he's gonna drop some zealots here, does end up finishing that off, so he will be able to continue mining here in his natural, but those minerals are getting low. The map is starting to mine out here, completely max out his Best, but look at that tank spread. So many turrets in here as well. I almost feel like you need to clear out some of those mines, though. You don't want to have mine drags on your tanks.
Yeah, you should be targeting down the mines that are basically on top of your tanks or an inch in front of your tanks. Although his entrenchment is so strong that I doubt that will come back to bite him. I guess it also helps protect him from any like a recall drop. It's possible some Protoss players would recall on top of the Terran army as well, so that would help against that if Best did go for a drastic play like that.
Yeah, he actually has double Stargate in the bottom right with an Arbiter Tribunal, so maybe thinking about using that in the late game. That is a very late Arbiter transition. 4 shuttles, a poor man's recall here, going into the main now. Oh boy, he's gonna drop, and right on top of a ton of mines. All of this is going to get cleared up so darn quickly. Just one zealot survives the initial barrage of mines. Actually, one more here, trying to clear out some of these turrets for a later recall, but that went about as bad as it possibly could.
Yeah, I don't see Best being successful with these Arbiters as well. It's just slightly too late. If he'd gone for the Arbiter transition maybe a few minutes earlier and started recalling, maybe there's something he could do there. But Royal's just really on top of everything this game. Look how fantastically he's played this game. The only real mistake I would say Royal has made was pushing too early and losing his tank count. Like, besides that, he's played this game absolutely flawlessly.
Yeah, and he's continuing to just fortify these positions, starting to hit some things in the main base as well. He scans down the bottom right. He sees the tech switch here from Best. Everything has been revealed. He'll just continue to add on more turrets in his main and keep a science vessel ready and waiting there with the EMP, and he should be able to take this one home. Best sending probes across the map, just clearing out some supply at the moment.
Yeah, there's not a lot of mineral patches left on the map to mine, and what Best is doing is he wants to lower his probe saturation a little bit, so he's mining out a little bit slower, but he's going to be able to field a much larger army as a result by bringing up some of these probes. So it's a wise choice from him to try and give himself any fighting edge that he can find by squeezing out every valuable unit that he can. Every Templar, every Arbiter is going to come down crucial for him to have any chance at breaking Royal here. I still don't think he's going to manage it. I still think that Royal's going to crush him here, but there is always a chance for a Protoss player to make something happen here. There's a lot of Zealots, there's a lot of Storm. There will be Stasis soon as well, so there is a chance that Royal goes for a big engagement and then a huge recall disrupts him and pulls him out of position, or a big Stasis gets onto a clump of tanks. So let's see what happens here. We got an Arbiter of Recall Engine moving over to the left-hand side. Maybe he's going to be thinking about baiting Royal up to the top left with a big recall and then pushing through the center.
Threads the needle there. He's found the one spot with not enough turret coverage, and he's managed to make its way all the way to the top left. This is crazy. God, Royal had so many turrets littered around the map, but Best just finds that tiny little hole and shoves his way through. Now he's going to get up here, deal a ton of damage. He kills a lot of SCVs. He gets some good storms off. This is not a game-winning move, but this is a good start. Here we go into the fourth base, fifth base. Oh my god, he gets right in here.
I mean, this is actually really good for Best. He's putting a lot of chaos into the equation, and this is exactly the kind of thing that he can use to start to win this game. As soon as Royal starts to have to maneuver around from his strong fortifications and starts to panic and move his units to and fro, some of the other positions will become weakened up and give Best some counterattack options. I don't think Best has traded that efficiently with these attacks. He has slowed down the economic position of Royal, but that doesn't matter too much at this stage in the game. There wasn't enough units traded off for Best out of those recalls, but it was definitely something that he needed to try to outmaneuver Best in this game. So I don't mind him trying it. He needs to do something.
What in God's name is going on in bottom right? He's actually throwing down 2 more Stargates and putting up a fleet beacon as well. He's going to transition. Oh no, just 1 more and a fleet beacon. He's trying to change it into carrier. Does he have enough gas for this? I feel like his main and natural have got to be mined out of gas. And the
actually, the real question is, does he have enough minerals for this? Because you need to keep making intercepts for a long time, so that's the real question, is does he have enough minerals for this?
True, true. I guess we'll find out here. He's only at 163 supply after those 2 recalls. I don't feel like his position has improved much. Like, he's slowed down Royal a tiny bit, I mean, in mining out his bases, but overall, just Royals continue to build up. He is going to continue to mine there. And yeah, Best, he's just struggling to find any way to deal damage to this man.
It looks like Royal's deciding now's the time to kind of creep across a little bit more as well. He's going to be slowly leapfrogging his tanks onto this other high ground to the southern threshold. Maybe put on some pressure on the 6 o'clock base. It is pretty much Best's only mining base right now, so if Royal does get down to that base and shut it down, there's no way he can afford to build interceptors. So that will essentially be a tactical GG from Royal. There's a huge tank count as well, and while Best is trying to transition into these carriers, he's not got a lot of units that are being produced right now. He's still not maxed out. Royal's actually ahead in supply, so it's a really bad situation for Best, and there's only a tiny choke that he can attack through as well. So all these tanks' value just skyrocket exponentially. Stasis does go down on a few of those tanks and science vessels to try and slow this push as much as he can, while some units do get rallied down from the gateway to come and help this, but I think it's just too much Terran here.
There are 2 more stasis left now. Zealots are coming up here. Oh, this is going to be a rough trade. There we go. Gets another stasis on some of those back tanks. Bringing the Zealots up to the front. I don't see any storms right now, but he's going to drag a nice mine there onto some of these tanks. The army has been mostly cleaned up here, but Best surrounding these tanks in stasis. If he can take out all of these, this is pretty good for him. I still don't think it's a winning move, a game-winning move, but it's gonna really improve his position. Royal dropping down to 140 supply, Best dropping to 117. It's still looking dire right now, but that was the best trade I think he could possibly manage at this point.
Yeah, I would say Best is one, pun intended, one of the best at using these kinds of unit compositions to trade out these seemingly impossible to beat siege positions where there's just so many siege tanks and mines, but he still somehow finds a way of breaking through letting his experience shine through a little bit. Even though he's in a bad way, he's still finding some maneuvers that he can accomplish to fight back the Terran a little bit and buy some time at the 6 o'clock base for these carriers to get here. Oh, beautiful defense matrix on that Goliath, going to stop it being targeted down too quickly, and adding some buffer time for more Goliaths to get down here, and also then move forward to get the carrier down onto red HP as well. Zealot streaming in to try and volley down some of these tanks, but unable to find any kills there. Best already took a lot of damage on one of these carriers, so it's not going to be too good for him. He's going to be going up to 6 carriers, but one of them's already close to death, so he might lose a lot of the power spike from these carriers if he's not careful.
Yeah, these are just, I imagine 1-0 carriers at the best. GG comes out, but you know, 3-3 Goliaths are so good at crushing those interceptors and killing off carriers. Best has to tap out. He gets the clamper for Royal. We're gonna move on here. We've got either Soma, Queen, or Action in a TVZ that's coming up next. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, game number 2 here, Royal versus Action. Action down here in the bottom right hand corner, Royal in the top left. We were just having a little break there, chatting back and forth. Shun and I have great chemistry, and I'm sure you will love his stream. He's been streaming a whole bunch on Twitch lately, and you should definitely check it out. I will put the link in the description down below. You stopped streaming for a little while, right?
Oh yeah, quite a long time I stopped streaming for. On my other stream I had quite a few followers. I think I was up to like 9,800 followers, but it's been a long time since I streamed back then, and I was streaming like Starcraft 2 and stuff. But now back to just Broodwar only and on the fresh stream, so I'm pretty excited about it.
Nice. So hopefully we'll get you a few followers from this. That would be fantastic. Guys, go check it out. On to the next one. Action here, getting a quick hatch. This is Dark Origin. So we do have a little bit of a cheeky play coming from Royal here with a factory down the bottom left and no drone scouts, so Action might be caught by surprise with this one.
Yeah, he will. He doesn't see the command center in the natural, which if it was 1-Rax FE, he would be seeing the command center right now with the Overlord Scout, and it's actually going to be a 2-hatch Hydra play out of Action as a response, so going for like kind of like 9-2 2-hatch Hydra to try and respond to this. I think he sniffs it out. I think he understands that Roy was likely to go gas on this map and try something cheesy, maybe even go for a proxy starport. So, oh, it's going to be 2 starport. It's going to be 2-port Wraith Sam.
Whoa. That was not expected. The little trick here with the Vulture is going to be tried by Royal. SCV trying to mine. This is so hard to do.
It's very difficult to do so on this bottom. The way it's aligned, because there's
He can't see it. He can't see it. He can see the mining, but he can't see it.
I think that's a mistake.
Oh,
he gets it! Okay, so he's going to just kill that Zergling and start to run up into the base. The Hydras are already rallied out, and there are enough Hydras to intercept this Vulture, but not before it confirms the 2-hatch Hydra build, and also maybe picks off a drone or two. So this is a nice little pick from Royal, not only getting the scout to confirm what's going on, but it's going to be really hindering the economy of action here, because losing just a single drone is going to be a big deal when you're on this kind of build order. So now we're going to see a bunker on the high ground to try and deflect this attack. And we might transition into a normal game in terms of not being able to bust down the Terran play here, because with this bunker being able to go up, there's no way that Action's going to see much damage here, though he will be able to put pressure on the front and force a big repair bill out of Royal.
Oh, it was so close. That SCV just moving to the other side of the bunker at the right time. He's focusing on killing this one supply depot because there's just not enough repair surface area on it. And another Vulture going to come here into the main. He's holding on at the natural, and he's going to get more damage here. Royal lifting and landing that factory there in the back. Getting so much damage here. 2 kills so far. Okay, nice drill there. Back at the front. SCVs are going to be pulled. Some Marines are going to come out as well. Another Vulture here is going to get a kill. 1. Just 1 kill. Still, eliminate any economy here for Action right now. So painful.
Yeah, and Royal's feeling really confident. He's actually going to pull back his barracks. He doesn't mind the Hydras putting on some pressure at the front. They will start to snipe down these 2 depots, though. I don't think he can do much about that. So picking up a depot or 2 will be really great value for his time. He will also maybe get the 2nd depot as well. That's going to be a huge pickoff for Action. And not only will he be limiting the ability for Royal to produce units when that supply depot goes down, but it'll also open up this choke a little bit to have more surface area to maybe bust and get on top of this bunker and snipe down SCVs.
Oh boy, that's a lot of Hydras. You gotta take this seriously. He's gonna pull 3 more SCVs ready to repair the bunker as he goes across the map with these Wraiths. Can Action bust, or will we get enough damage here from Royal? Killing off Overlords, killing off drones with those Wraiths. That Action will just be just completely crippled in terms of economy. Looks like he's gonna back off for now. Not gonna dive that bunker, but he may try to run up there at a point where Royal is kind of microing away somewhere else. Maybe he pulls away a few of those SCVs. That's like 8 SCVs sitting around that bunker right now. That's a lot of lost mining time. He pulls back. He pulls back. This might be a moment where Action could try to dive on that. No, he doesn't have the Hydra numbers anymore. He's actually pulled a bunch of the Hydras all the way down here to the bottom left. He's looking for the Wraiths, and it looks like Royal is going to survive for now. Not going to lose just to a Hydra's attack. Ooh, loses 1 drone for a Wraith. Not too bad of a trade there for Action. And man, this is a strange game already.
Yeah, it's a very strange game. It looks like Action is going to pick off the factory in the bottom left, and he's starting to transition. He got an evolution chamber and a macro hatchery as natural, so he could make some spores to then allow him to move out on the map safely, and having the spores to cover his drones against the Wraith harass. So it's like Action going to be setting himself up for phase 2 now, realizing he's probably not going to get the bust on that bunker anymore.
Probably not going to get the bust on the bunker, but he may get a bust here on the natural when Royal eventually has to take it. No spores just yet. Looks like a 3rd base may be getting taken here for Action. I don't see an Evo chamber either, so I'm not sure if he's going to go for that play. Oh, there is one. Okay.
Yeah, he's an Evo in the main, and he's waiting for Overlord speed as well. He wouldn't want to move out of Overlord speed, so he's just being chill. I don't think he thinks there's cloak yet. I think he'll only make the spores once he confirms that there's likely to be cloak. It is very likely we will see cloak with the 2-pot Wraith build, so we'll see if we do start seeing the Wraiths put more pressure on. He is researching cloak right now, so we'll be getting up into that technology and starting to put a lot more pressure on the Zerg. And if he doesn't make spores, he could probably start microing down a lot of the drones and Overlords while distracting Action at the front with his Bioforce. There is a huge force of infantry moving down now to the bridges, which Action will want to hold. If he lets him get across the bridges, it could be a bit of a bad situation for him.
Ooh, almost losing a Wraith there. Does pull back. This is not really what you want to do with these wraiths, though. You want to go into the main base, deal some damage, kill off some overlords, kill off some drones while this distraction is going on. There's that spore finishing up just in time. He's got a Hydra there as well. This is going to push everything away really, really nicely. Another spore going to come up here in the natural as well. Some opportunity to maybe pick off some overlords here, but other than that, I don't think Royal's going to get much damage.
Yeah, it's a very good reaction from Action. He's these are the kinds of builds that usually punish players that are not prepared or do not know how to react appropriately to it. These are the builds that work best against most players. These are really good ways to play on the ladder, because if you do not know how to react to it correctly, you're just behind. And it looks like Action's done a really good job of like navigating that tightrope, so they're just barely making enough to survive while also getting his economy into a healthy enough position. As we can see, the supply is currently at 61 to 62, so Action has navigated his way into a somewhat favorable position. The Terran player is still on one base while he's also now got his third, so Action in a pretty good spot, I would say.
Yeah, he's looking good here. Has lurkers possibly on hold position over there on the center right. That could be a game-ending mistake there if Royal decides to move around that side. He's looking to come here over towards the natural again, but there's just so many Hydras and a bunch of lurkers ready to go. The bridges are just not going to be breached here. I think Action is going to take this game, man. He's just now taking his natural as Royal, and Hive is already on the way.
Yeah, vessels are out, so there is some potential for Royal to be really proactive with his infantry and vessel and wraith and maybe get something going, but I think it's looking really difficult for him. Like, the longer the game progresses, it seems like Action's in a more and more favorable position.
Even on supply now, and yeah, having the 1-1-1 early and having those two start ports up really, really quick means he can get into those vessels, but with 3 gas production, how much of their radiate's even gonna matter here? It's not like we have defilers out right now. He's only gonna be irradiating lurkers, and there's just so much production for Action. He's gonna have tons and tons of lurkers, and if he can contain Royal for a little bit, even just a little bit over here by his natural, he's gonna get a defiler across the map, and that could just be the end.
Yeah, there's hardly any infantry for Royal as well. With just 1 base economy, only 2 barracks production, he's not really got a large army to field, and Action may be even able to crush him soon, but I think Action will just want to kind of inch his way forward, create as much space as possible, so that when he does get his defiler out, he can start to put on pressure with Dark Swarms on the natural of Royal as soon as possible. We will be seeing the first defiler shortly, with Consume on the way.
Has the double upgrades rolling as well. Action's position just looking so good right now. He's cut off this left-hand side. He needs to get more. Oh, he's actually got 3 lurkers in a stack there. So just crushing these Marines as they try to come around the left-hand side, and that'll give an opportunity now for Action to move into the natural. Ooh, there's no spore over here at the 3rd. Royal gonna get a little bit of damage. Oh, wow. Really well done there, Royal, popping all of the Marines out of the bunkers and sending them back in with the stim. Oh god, you do not want to try and break this spot, Royal. His army's kind of cut off here. A lot of drones going down at the 3rd, but the spot for Action right now is looking so good.
Yeah, I saw the race moving down to the 3rd base, and I was thinking to myself, okay, he's probably going to get a few drone kills, but he's still not going to be able to handle dealing with this defiler coming up soon. The Action's already on the other side of the bridges as well. So Action's already done the hard job of getting past the bridges, and he's contained him on the left-hand side with a few stacked lurkers. And Royal doing a good job of sniping down some of the overlords to hopefully supply block Action to slow down his production a little bit, but he's actually looking okay right now. He's not too worried about that. Defiler already in position at the natural, going to start consuming links momentarily, and then we will be seeing a lot of Dark Swarms being thrown down onto the natural of Royal, and that might even be lights out for him.
That's a lot of lurkers. All the bunkers in the world doesn't save you from this defiler. There's the Dark Swarm. That may just be the GG moment here for Royal. Gonna consume once again, throw down another couple of Dark Swarms. There is an irradiate here, but having lurkers on your natural just never a good situation for Terran. And in this position, with so little economy, with so little production here, I think it's just completely game-ending damage. There it is, GG. Royal taps out. It was a cool strategy, but Action responding perfectly there, shutting down that play, takes the victory.
Wow, it's really great execution from Action there. He understood the situation perfectly, putting on the pressure with the 2-hatch Hydra. And do you notice how his Spore was basically ready at the moment that Cloak was done and he was moving into his main base? He had the build order mapped out flawlessly. Everything that Action did there was textbook. Absolutely phenomenal demonstration of how you can easily deflect any kind of cheese play out of Terrans, and why you don't usually see many cheeses in TVZ at the higher level, because the Zergs are skilled enough to know how to navigate those strange situations cost efficiently, and then also put themselves into advantageous positions economically and technology speaking.
And everything just falls into place there. The only thing Action might have done wrong there is not putting a Spore at the third, but even that damage wasn't enough to stop him from getting the Defiler into the natural, taking that game away. We're going to go on to game number 3 now, guys. Royal versus one of these two remaining, or excuse me, Action versus one of these two remaining Protoss. Let's jump into it. Jumping now into our third match, Shuttle versus Action. A Shuttle down in that bottom right-hand corner. Action over here in the top left. We're just talking about Shuttle a little bit. He used to be one of my absolute favorite players. I thought he was so good at this matchup when Zerg was really dominating. He seemed to be one of those few people who was making the proper Reaver transition and able to fight in the late game, but has kind of fallen off as of recently. Hasn't really had the success in ASL that he used to. Used to be kind of a mainstay in ASL, regularly getting into the group stages. But I don't know. We'll see what kind of form he's in now.
Yeah, Shuttle was, like you say, like one of the main guys back in the day, and even like holding his own against the likes of Flash a few times. So it would be really great to see him kind of revitalize himself in the scene and come back strong. Let's see if we can see what he can do against Action here. I'm not sure if maybe he's been as comfortable in the meta shifts lately. That PvZ has evolved a lot from back in the day, from when he was in his prime, I would say. So I'm not sure how comfortable he feels in the current meta. I would really like to see how his play has developed since I last saw him.
Yeah, it seems like he tilts pretty easily. I think that's the big problem with Shuttle. He has a hard time keeping his shirt on straight when things are starting to really fall apart, especially in a best of series.
We do have like two main types of players. You have like those mechanical players like Flash, which are just like all business, and then you've got the more emotional players like Mini, where they can play on such highs, but when things go wrong, they like fall to these like unprecedented lows, and that can be both a big strength and a big weakness for a lot of these players.
And a second Zealot making its way here into the natural. We've already seen a little bit of damage go down. No drones have fallen. Good pulling back there from Action. But this could become bad, right? We've got some of these drones pretty low on HP. Quite a few Lings have been killed. Looks like Shuttle actually going to evacuate this position, try to sneak a Zealot behind a mineral patch over here at the normal third base location. Action's actually taken the base here at 9 o'clock instead. So this is not going to do too much. Actually, getting 2 Lings on this is pretty big. It's very hard to do, but Action actually manages to get both Lings attacking there and takes out that Zealot with relative ease. Now he can actually come across and deal with these other 2 Zealots that are coming.
Yeah, and the correct play is to kill the zealot. You don't want to just leave that zealot there and then come down and deal with these two zealots and let that zealot then run back into your main base and start killing drones. Like, you have to kill that zealot there, so it's really wise for Action just to take the 2-on-1 fight and kill the zealot at slight cost inefficiency. Now we see Shuttle also shuffling these zealots to the back of the minerals here, one on each side, trying to force him to trade 2-on-1 yet again. And it's actually a lot harder to get 2-on-1 at the top, I think. You can get it, but it's a lot trickier. And in this spot that he's got right now, it's actually a one-on-one. So Shuttle really understands how to abuse this map, and he's just demonstrating that flawlessly right now.
There we go. Does manage to get the 2-on-1 there at the end. There's still 3 links remaining, but I think they're all on low HP, so he will have to pull back, and that hurts. Having to pull your drones away from the mineral patches at this moment, it really doesn't feel good here as the Zerg player. He will get back to mining though as quickly as possible as those freshlings pop out, and get back to droning here pretty soon. There's the Spire on the way. It's going to be in time to deal with this first Corsair as it comes out, so probably no Overlord's going to go down unless he finds that one parked semi over the natural at the moment. He's actually going to pull that back into a more hidden position, try to keep that at a location that Shuttle's not going to find right away. Might be able to save that, actually.
Yeah, usually you won't lose that Overlord, because unless you've got a probe scout that's still checking the main base and has confirmed the tech choices, you will want to send that Corsair straight cross map, so you won't even hunt down that Overlord, and by the time he gets to the main base of Action, we'll then see like 1 or 2 pairs of Scourge popping out, and then that Overlord can be saved, and it is already running to the top to have as much time to react to save it as possible. So good play from Action, not even needing to replace that Overlord. He did lose a little bit of mining, like you said, and with such low drone count early game, like every tiny bit of lost mining is crucial, and the fact that Shuttle was managing to make him pull a lot of drones off earlier in the game as well, like that also hurt Action a little bit, slowed him down, so every little helps. And it would have been beneficial if he was able to instead snipe the drone or 2 with those zealots, but just the lost mining time can kind of pay for that endeavor as well. So it's always important to force as much mining loss as possible when you do have those situations. We do see the Scourge moving in to intercept this Corsair that's trying to get away. Let's see if Action can find it. Scourge do have such small vision range though, so it's extremely difficult to catch a Corsair when you don't know its exact position.
Oh, this is looking so nice for Action here. He's got about 4 or 5 mutas coming out. He's spotted all of these zealots. They don't have speed. They've got nowhere to go. They're going to split up and try to lose these mutalists right now, but the Scourge are parked right on top of them, just following them everywhere they go. And I think he's going to lose every single one of this unless speed kicks in really, really soon here.
Yeah, I love this use of the Scourge. You're not only tracking the Zealot movements to catch them with the mutas easily, but you're also keeping the Scourge handy to zone out the Corsairs from stopping the mutas from doing their job. So really, really cost-efficient use of his actions per minute there from Action.
This final Zealot does go down over here at the 12, and a DT on the way.
Yeah, we're going to be going up to 6 hatchery Hydra production by the looks of it. 1 Scourge flying into the main base and natural of Shuttle to try and confirm exactly what's going on, see how many Corsairs are being produced. He sees that there is still Corsairs being produced right now, so he will be going up to at least 6 Corsairs with probably maybe a +1 upgrade. DT currently out on the map, making its way down to the 3rd base location, maybe intercepted shortly though.
Yeah, Overlords at every position. The Corsairs haven't had the time or the air superiority to deal with any of these Overlords, so the DT is going to be relatively ineffective right now, but it's still a presence on the map. It's allowing Shuttle to know what's going on, to figure out what's coming here, and also to check for additional bases. It's very, very important that he knows if a 4th base is coming down right now. It's going to hint to him in a big way what's the plan here in the future for Action.
Yeah, there's two like schools of thought for action here. He can either stay on lair tech and power up with 3 gases and try and get a lot of lurkers out quickly, or he can like rush into hive and try and play a lot more defensive and turtle up, and then try and get into cracklings and eventually plague as soon as possible. It looks like he's kind of wanting to take this early 4th base anyway. I'm not sure if he does want to tech up to hive. He did get a 3rd gas extremely early, which makes me think he wants to make a lot of scourge and lurkers, and he will need to do that because we see like 7 Corsairs with +1 right now, so they can one-shot Scourge. So actually going to be a little bit careful to maintain some kind of air superiority, so these Corsairs can't just start going around the map killing Overlords.
Yeah, that can become a serious problem. So far, he's done a great job of mitigating these Corsairs, but in an instant, if all those Scourge fly in and don't connect, suddenly Shuttle will just have crazy map control. He'll start flying around, just annihilating everything, and it becomes very tough for the Zerg player to deal with. Some good damage on that group of mutas, but Action flying right on out of there after killing the probe. Really good delay tactics here from Action so far.
Yeah, I was blown away that he managed to fly in at the exact time that the probe was making his way down to expand and took it out. It kind of just goes to show, like, these pro gamers really do have each other's numbers. They've played against each other and they've seen each other play enough times that they've really got their styles kind of mapped out. So if you do want to get one over it, the other guy, you kind of have to really think outside the box and kind of deviate from your normal state of play.
This mean is still being annoying. They don't have the accompaniment of the Scourge at this moment, so they can't actually stay and fight here. The Corsairs, if they find them, are going to blow them up in a second. Oh, he found it. He found it. Chasing them down now. Splits are pretty good, though. Action going to send them in every different direction. Only losing one muta there. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, you have to have really fast cloning technique there, where you're shift clicking out individual mutas and then sending them off in a kind of like a flower pattern to try and send them in each direction to mitigate as much damage as possible. Does do a good job there of Squeak getting out of like 4 or so mutas. Now going to be flying in to check exactly how many High Templars there are, how many Dragoons there are. It's really important you get a read on exactly what the unit composition of the Protoss is, because that will help Action line up his own unit composition to counter that, and also how he wants to engage the army will be dictated by what he's having to fight against.
I'm seeing a lot of zealots here with this army. A good number of lurkers will be necessary to block this attack. He's not set up on the high ground. He's actually pushing forward right now. I'm a little bit surprised. A lot of players on this map, Zerg players, like to grab these high grounds. This one here, and then the one over on the center left. He might actually back away towards that. No, he's setting up in the middle of the map. I'm a little bit surprised by this.
I think he was just trying to pull the army around of Shuttle a little bit, make him worried about a potential contain and a counterattack onto his third base. Because he was still on his side of the map, it would have been a little bit difficult for Shuttle to move across confidently and counterattack the third base location at 9 o'clock, because he didn't have any observer or Corsairs checking that location yet, so he didn't know if there was already a fortified position with lurkers there. So he's instead going to be playing a lot more passive now and trying to go up the 4 base, which I think is what Action wants. He kind of wants Shuttle to stay on his side of the map right now, and while he powers up as much of an army as he can. In an ideal world, he does want to force a fight here because he doesn't want to let the Protoss player get a 4th base for free. So he will be looking to start trading his army with the Protoss player soon, I feel. It looks like at the moment he's just skirmishing while macroing up as hard as possible.
Bit of a nasty mistake there. Pathing, sending one Dragoon, one Templar around the wrong way there, and he loses both of them. That's not good. That's not a good way you want to start this fight. Not much has been exchanged yet, but losing potentially 2 to 3 storms right off the bat is really rough here for Shuttle. His army is not looking that big in comparison to what Action has. Well, Action is getting close to actually surpassing Shuttle here in terms of that supply. Now coming around with a few lings, just checking out the positioning of the army here, getting himself into a really nice spot. This is the money location here. Action's managed to wiggle his way to this spot. and set up all of his lurkers at this position. If he sends a bunch of lurkers over to the high ground on the far right, that's going to be even better. But you know, Shuttle doesn't want to let that happen. He doesn't want to let this become a really fortified spot. So he's actually sending a lot of his army up here, and the Zealots are getting kind of crushed. That was actually a decent trade for Action, I feel. He lost a lot of lurkers, he lost a lot of Hydras, but the Zealot number just plummeted in that fight.
Yeah, that was actually weirdly a good fight for Action. Even though it looks like the Protoss player crushed that position, he lost a lot of his Zealots for that engagement, and now it looks like Action wants to take this eastern high ground ridge as well, and will start to gun down the individual High Templars and Dragoons one at a time, which is kind of what you want to use your Hydras for. You don't want to just stand and fight always. Sometimes you want to just skirmish the one goon down at a time and just like run in, pick off a unit, run out, run in, pick off a unit, run out. And that's a really great way of baiting out storms as well. I also liked Shuttle's snipe on the Overlord at the bottom ridge, because he picked off the Overlord so that there was no counterplay of picking off the observers. So that was one good thing for Shuttle here, but now we see a huge counterattack being set up from Action. He's going to be coming in from all sides, and there's no way that Shuttle can hold on to this ridge. There's like nothing here, just a few Dragoons and Zealots, and all these Zerglings getting on top of these Dragoons now, mopping them up, and they have so many upgrades that there's just no way that he's going to be able to keep up in this game. Like, Action is just like on fire today. He's playing like immaculately in this last game too.
This is a perfect example of what can happen if you allow your Zealots to run into lurker lines. Just no Zealots remaining to deal with this vast number of cracklings that pull in for the flank and completely crush that Dragoon army. Now, lost the 4th base. This is almost impossible to come back from at this point.
Yeah, well, Shuttle was trying to go into Turtle Toss style. He wanted to start getting a lot of Reavers and just turtle up on these bases and slowly split the map, but Action was on to him. He understood his position. He knew that he had a little bit of time to build up a huge army, and he just needed to wait for one mistake from the Protoss player, which was the Zealots being dried up at the 6 o'clock ridge. Action then knew he had a huge critical mass of units to trade efficiently, so he just needed to set up a good flank and contain on the right hand side. And now there's like nothing that Shuttle can do, because he's completely contained out from taking a 4th base.
Yeah, and more bases are going up for Action here. The Dark Swarm goes down, and a lot of Protoss players will just tap out at this moment. You're already in a bad position, and with Dark Swarm at your door, Dark Swarm Lurker is just so hard to deal with. Even if you have a massive army and a lead, it can be tough to break through Dark Swarm positions. But in this spot, trading unfavorably will just mean death. There's the first plague.
Oh! Huge plague on that army. A lot of ketchup just went down on those Protoss infantry, and you can't really get much better than that as far as plagues go. It's like absolute money shot right there.
Yeah, that was nasty. Action just getting incredible value out of these Defilers, Lurkers, and Hydras. You can see the Zealots are just disintegrating. Look at them. They can hardly even reach these Hydras as they run forward.
Look at the mini-map. Oh my lord. Look at this Sauron Zerg-esque style. 17 minutes 30 into the game, and he's already in an almost Sauron Zerg situation. Floods of lings streaming forward. Really good storms to like kind of like butter the bread of those units as they came in, making sure that the unit paths that were being selected by the AI was like focused down and storm, but it's still not enough. GG is called from Shuttle. Wow, what an absolute exemplary performance from Action thus far.
Yeah, fantastic games out of him. This week, unfortunately, the all-kill prize is very low here. So 200,000 won. I mean, it was 2.5 million just last week, or nearly 2.5 million. So that's a little bit unfortunate that Action chose this week to go on such a streak, but we haven't gotten to the point of all kill just yet. Still have Mini in the background, and he has to make it through Light or JYJ in the next game that's coming right up, game number 4. Here we are in game number 4. JYJ is the next player to take the stage. Down here in the bottom right, Action in the top center here on Neo Sylphid. It's been a great run so far, but can he take down JYJ, who's on a hot streak of his own and looking fantastic in multiple different tournaments? This is going to be a real challenge.
Yeah, I think that was a 10 racks from JYJ, so he may be wanting to put on a little bit of pressure against the 11 hatch of Action. Now, on this map, you have such good mineral optimization as 12 o'clock position that going for the 11 hatch kind of makes sense because you can squeeze out so many minerals from boosting these patches. So it's like Action going to be optimizing as much as possible. Drone Scout now going to be intercepting this very fast SCV Scout of JYJ. We'll know where he is right off the bat, but he won't know the exact timing of this barracks. So it's possible that JYJ still won't commit to moving out with some Marines and put on a little bit of pressure, but he has the option to do so. It'll be interesting to see how he wants to play with this slightly fast racks timing in the natural.
And I can see already how Action wants to play. A drone heading to the top left-hand corner. He's going to be taking a very quick third before his gas geysers thrown down. This is looking almost like a ZVP build, and it's indicative of the potential of going for a Hydra Defiler play here. It's very, very popular in Neo Sylphid.
But he's going to be careful with these first two Marines. He has popped out 4 Lings, which is perfect to deal with this. Because the Drone Scout got in and saw the timing of the Marines, he understands exactly what he's up against, so he can pop out these initial 6 Lings to volley back the Marines from doing any damage in the natural. So really, really great response from Action. I actually really like this response from dealing with this. You do kind of need to scout it fast though, so it was kind of lucky that he saw the SCV coming in right away and got the confirmation on the build right away. It also saves the Drone Scout from the Marines, doesn't lose that as well. So great from Action there to not only keep track of where the Marines are and how many there are of them, but also not losing the drone in the process and going to be able to get that home to keep his economy strong.
Yeah, really good responses so far from Action, and this play is extremely strong. I've heard from multiple different Terran players that it's just almost unbeatable right now on the ladder. So many Zergs are using it. It's just really been worked out nicely, to the point where this is like basically a meta build at this point on maps like this where you don't have an easily accessible 4th base. It was sort of born out of Eclipse, out of necessity on Eclipse, because it was so hard to get that 4th gas that Zerg players needed another type of strategy to be strong in the mid game and actually secure that 4th base. So, you know, building out tons and tons of Hydras and Lings and Lurkers was kind of the response to that strange map, to that different style of map that's sort of gained popularity over time. And now this is just a mainstay. This is just a super, super popular and strong build that a lot of Terran players struggle to deal with. We'll see how JYJ handles it here.
One of the issues on Eclipse was that you can't really do crazy Zerg or normal Zerg build orders because it's too easy to contain both locations, the natural and the third, from one spot. So that the Protoss player, sorry, the Terran player can get a huge bioball outside the natural and the third of the Zerg and just contain them way too cost efficiently, and the 4th gas just becomes a nightmare to secure at that point. So having such a cost efficient unit composition of Hydra Defiler is like basically became a necessity, but also discovered to be a very strong cost-efficient way of dealing with Terran in general, so has become more part of the meta as a whole.
Ooh, this is looking a little scary for Action right now. He's done a good job of you know, getting himself to this point, but he's got a lot of Lings. There's a fire bat here. 2 Sunkens are not quite done. A 3rd Sunken on the way here. This is a scary moment. If he gets flanked by this number of Lings, though, I think he holds.
Yeah, it looks like Action has smelled out that he's not going to commit to the bus and now wants to go for the potential counterattack. There is 2 fire bats in position, so he's going to not want to challenge that. So Action was set up to do something here, but looks like JYJ has the correct response. But oh, he baits out the fire bat and snipes it though. That's huge. Okay, there's a chance for counterattack now. JYJ needs to get back desperately as Action floods into the natural, gets a huge surround on the rest of the fire bats and Marines and medics. And now Action going to also be able to get into the main base with these links and confirm the entire tech tree of the Terran player, as well as causing a nightmare situation of maybe slowing down the turrets being thrown down while mutas are going to be coming out soon.
Yeah, mutas are probably in production right now, and any delay here on the turrets is going to be massive. Jumping into the natural again, gonna go after Marines as well. Marine kills here are fantastic. Any amount of Marine kills is gonna just make these mutas so much more powerful. Hydra's Den is on the way. I don't actually see mutas popping out. Are they in the X right now? I think so.
It's interesting. It's possible that he's kind of faking the mutas. He might actually not make that many mutas. It is very, very possible he'll only make a few mutas, flash the mutas, make him think it's going to be a fairly strong muta commitment, but actually it's just going to be like maybe like 5 to 7, and then he's going to go straight into lurkers. He has got the high ground third, which he can put lurkers to defend there. Has already got a sunken there. I think he will initially have to get quite a few mutas to help deal with the bio ball to make sure that his third base isn't threatened too greatly, because there is going to be a little bit before lurkers are out. So he will make at least, I would say, 7 to 9 mutas. So he has to at least commit somewhat to mutas. He just wouldn't necessarily need to do any commitment to harassing the Terran with the mutas, just for map control purposes at this stage.
Yeah, just slowing down this bio ball is a victory in itself. He's making that transition. Does he have a Queen's Nest up just yet? I don't see one. So no hive just at this moment. Lurkers are going to be incoming here. 3 gas is being mined. That's a lot of income for Action. But JYJ is making his transition as well, and he's doing a good job of keeping this bio ball alive, just keeping it really tight. Not taking any damage from these Marines. Oh, so good.
Yeah, phenomenal bio control there. You can see how he's always like regrouping his Marines into a box square formation when they need to regroup, and then as soon as the mutas come in to engage, they create a small arc or a straight line to then engage the mutas with maximum surface area. Like, phenomenal play from JYJ, maneuvering with these Marines, going for the sunken bust as well, targeting down the first sunken. He was trying to angle in from the side, but so far not able to get any shots off. Action not slowing down this push fast enough. Lurkers are out to burrow. This might just barely be enough to hold off 3 lurkers, barely finishing in the nick of time there. I think Action didn't want to engage too heavily with the mutas because he knew the lurkers were just about to pop, so he didn't want to lose too many mutas to hold something he didn't necessarily need to hold there. So great job of maintaining his 11 mutas there without having to sacrifice any to hold that push.
Yeah, I was getting a little scared there with him not engaging with the mutas, but I guess those eggs were just about to pop, so he makes the right decision, kind of staves that off a little bit with the mutas, and then holds it all with the lurkers. Oh, a stim. Is he gonna go for this? That's kind of crazy. There's 3 lurkers there. Oh my god, he is gonna go for it. Pulling the drones. Oh my god, he kills one of the lurkers. There's still one more. Oh my.
He gets the break. He gets the break. GG.
Unbelievable. Just not something you are expecting here as a Zerg player. That tight natural with 2 sunken colonies and 3 lurkers able to be broken. Just pure medic marine. Beautiful control from JYJ. He cracks open the shell and eats up the insides. All those yummy drones get taken down, and Action has been eliminated. His hot streak has ended. JYJ looking so good here. He also has an opportunity to all kill if he takes down 3 Zerg players here. We're gonna go into our next game. It's gonna be JYJ versus Mini. That's coming up next. Here we go. Game number 5, Mini versus JYJ. Our final Protoss player of the night, holding off 4 incredibly strong players here. Like JYJ, Soma and Queen still remain. It's a long road to redemption here for Protoss. Yet to get a single point this season so far. Can Mini do it? Is he up to the task here on Heartbreak Ridge? He'll have to prove himself. JYJ in the bottom right, Mini in the top left. I think I said that already.
Yeah, it's okay though. Looks like we got a forward pylon in the natural, so we're going to be seeing a forward gateway from Mini to put on a lot of pressure with some zealots early, but I think JYJ is also going to wall in and be very safe against that. So look at this timing of the barracks from JYJ. Just barely stops the probe getting in for a gas steal.
Ooh, preventing the gas steal on a 2-player map. This has got to be Artosis's wet dream right here. This, like, too bad that Heartbreak Ridge isn't in the map pool anymore. It's just these other 2-player maps that you can easily gas steal on. This is nice.
Yeah, although if this was an Artosis SCV, it would be going to the other side of the barracks and getting killed by the probe, and he'd be flipping out right now.
True, true. Getting so lucky right now.
The SCV hasn't gone onto that side once, saying, look at it.
Oh, there it is. He's just gonna fight. No big deal. Look at it, JYJ just dealing with it. Like, it doesn't even matter here. Getting some really good shots on this probe, actually. Crazy.
Wow. It's actually really hard to micro saying because the SCV has an attack range of 0 like a Scourge does, so you have to really manually get that SCV to like bump bellies with the probe to make sure it gets the attack off.
Oh, we might get the probe. That's insane, micro.
He gives up. Damn, that was really, really close, but he will get it with the Marine, 100%. That has nowhere to go. Imagine if he just jumped over the mineral patch with a pylon right
now. He might.
Just styling on him. Oh, he does!
He does. See, it's cheaper. It's cheaper. It's cheaper than a $50 probe.
Wow.
Later.
Beautiful. Beautiful by me. Wait, is he gonna go back over?
No way. There's no shot.
Okay, he's just gonna mine it out. Makes sense. He wants to get maybe a Zealot or a Dragoon back there later on. Gonna make use of that probe, getting rid of those mineral patches. The Zealot is at the 12 o'clock. I don't know what that's doing. Just kind of chilling there for now. And a probe gonna be dealing with this SCV.
Yeah, we're gonna see a 22 Nexus and a Mini, which is essentially a 23 Nexus, just more optimized. Look at this beautiful probe micro, but JYJ also really on top of how he controls his SCVs, so making them have to trade shot for shot, even though he has less range than the particle beam, and getting a lot of shield damage on this Dragoon with the Vulture shaving it off with the fragmentation grenades, and also going to take some shots as well. Oh, but the Marines were body blocking that Vulture, so the Vulture actually might go down here. This could be really big for Mini if he can pick off these Marines and Vulture. He does get the Vulture. The Zealot is down, but so are both of the Marines. There's only now one Marine trying to fight back this Dragoon. Might get a little bit of damage on these SCVs. Beautiful block from JYJ, stopping that Dragoon from retreating, but didn't get the prison against the gas with the SCV, so unfortunately he wasn't able to kill that Dragoon, but really great play from JYJ to mitigate as much damage as possible. Didn't lose too much there, but still a nice little pick off from Mini. The pressure is still on, no bunker.
Yeah, not having a bunker here, and the second Dragoon is coming up. Uh-oh, this is scary now with just 2 Marines, no bunker. How is he gonna hold on? He may end up losing these SCVs on the command center and really getting delayed here. Oh! Does lose that one Dragoon. Nicely done. And the tank is now out, so maybe not even necessary to get the bunker at this point.
Yeah, he's after killing those Dragoons and having the first tank out already, he can now shuffle out and actually maybe get some shots off on this other Dragoon before more show up. I don't think JYJ should move out right now. Please tell me he's not trying to move out. I don't think he is. I think he's just either threatening to move out or I don't know, but I really hope he does. Yeah, I think he might be going for a bit of a timing since right now there's maybe not that many units out for Mini, so he might be trying to like sneak out onto the map to catch some Dragoons, but Mini's actually going to shuffle down and around the back while these units are starting to move out, so could be some economic denied mining from Mini here by moving into the back.
He is going to start to hit these SCVs. Looks like he doesn't have range yet, so having a hard time hitting from the high ground. And the units of JYJ are not turning around here. He's going for this.
He can bust it.
Yeah, he's throwing down mines in his natural to kind of trap these Dragoons on that high ground. And there's not much here for Mini. He really has the majority of his forces on the other side of the map harassing right now. The probe drill's pretty darn good. He's kind of getting on top of these Marines, but Vulture's laying down mines in the path of these retreating Dragoons. And God, Mini has put himself into a really funny position here.
Yeah, losing those first two Dragoons basically has put him in. He wanted to try and hold the Terran back by moving around to the natural and deny mining with these two Dragoons, but unfortunately that's not really paid out for him. The SCV did get sniped off building this bunker, and the bunker was kind of blocking the tanks from being able to micro much. So actually, Mini turning this whole situation around by killing those two tanks. So I actually think Mini is in a phenomenal position right now. Like, I think JYJ really overstepped his mark. I still don't think it was the greatest idea for him to move out there. That's why I was like kind of scratching my head when he did it. I thought maybe he could still make it work with the two Dragoons being back here and not able to defend, but actually no. Mini like slowly delayed the push enough that he could get enough Dragoons to surround and kill the tank. So really a bit of an overstep from JYJ. Now in a little bit of a trouble, not able to mine in his natural expansion, only has a couple of vultures out on the field and has had his tank count reset, but Mini's able to take a third.
I think a lot of that was Mini just sort of doing some fancy footwork there, able to walk these Dragoons around all these mines. You can see he's clearing them out now, but JYJ, as he was running into the natural, was laying mines behind himself in order to deal with those Dragoons, but none of the mines actually connected. It's just crazy that Mini was able to sidestep all of those, keep all those Dragoons alive, and get the flank off. Of course, the bunker not being finished in time as well was a big factor there. Now he's unable to mine in his natural properly, but he's got a drop going on. Can he get some serious damage here? Looks like Mini all over this. But dropping into the natural, gonna throw down some mines and run into the main. How much can he get done? He needs a lot of damage here.
Yeah, it's just 3 vultures, but 3 vultures is more than enough to get a lot of damage. This could be just what he needs to make sure he's safe. Looks like Mini's going for the counterattack, trying to get into the natural expansion to kill a tank, but that's not the right play there at all. 3 Dragoons going splat. The dropship does go down, however, so it's really nice that Mini managed to kill the dropship at least. It's really frustrating if you know that that dropship is still out on the map and can maybe come in again later and do some more vulture harass. So really nice that he also got the dropship there. Dragoon's still in the high ground area of the natural expansion, chipping away at the economy of JYJ, trying to even out the playing field even more after losing those probes.
A few more Dragons gonna come around to this high ground, but with the siege tanks there on the low ground, it's tough to deal any additional damage. Third base is up for Mini. The positions here are looking relatively even, although I feel like Mini has a tiny advantage after clearing those 2 early tanks. Diving into the natural, though, did not help his position at all. That was crazy.
Yeah, he kind of reset the advantage a little bit, but if he gets this tank here, this is huge for Mini. Okay, never mind. Mini's really far ahead in this game right now. Okay, like JYJ is finding small ways to throw the game, and if he had not done that just there, I feel like he would have been in a great position. Like, it would have been actually a very tenable position for JYJ to navigate, but after losing those 2 tanks like that, I think this is a very Mini-sided game so far.
Yeah, that was really a long con there by Mini, actually. He had those 2 Dragoons up on the high ground for a really long time, and then he reinforced with 2 extra Dragoons. JYJ came up there thinking that he was going to be fighting 2 Dragoons with 4 tanks. Turns out there were 4 Dragoons there, and 4 Dragoons kill a tank incredibly fast. Just 2 volleys. He gets surprised. He loses a bunch of tanks, and now he's just suffering in this game, trying to find a way back in. Tank here on the high ground, 1 single Wraith will counter the shuttle that's on the way, but 2 shuttles can unload a lot of stuff into the main base here.
The really funny thing about this is that he made the Wraith just as a high ground spotter to check behind that base, but it actually will help him out to deal with the shuttles as well. So, but he needed it even earlier on just to help spot against those Dragoons up there. It's kind of funny. The dropship's moving out around to the south, so the dropship will go undetected while he's starting to elevator in some goons into the main base, and maybe this dropship can get something done, but it's going to be really hard for him to maneuver in the main base against the micro of Mini. We're having these 2 Dragoons supporting this Reaver in the main base is going to be a little bit annoying for JYJ to deal with. Also, a Zealot being dropped out first from the shuttle, but a little bit of missed micro from Mini. Didn't actually get a Reaver shot off on the turret, had to pick it up quickly again. is now starting to encroach upon this position and start to pick off the rest of the turrets and start hitting the depots. But there's a tank drop in the third base, while a vulture drop will be released into the behind the natural of Mini. But it looks like Mini had a few dragoons to deal with the vulture drop, so won't be taking too much damage against that. Reaver going to be taking a big scarab shot on the tank. The dragoon with a double shot going to be finishing that off. Another scarab shot does get launched, but looks like
it still connects. JYJ didn't keep running the tank back, so it does connect, doesn't dud, and also does full damage, so it does take out the tank. Unfortunate for JYJ there. Scarabs still doing a lot of havoc in the natural. The main base of JYJ does dud another scarab, but a lot of damage is being done on both sides.
A lot of damage on both sides, but I definitely feel like Mini taking the better of these trades. Gonna get some more tanks here, at least one anyway. And picks up another Dragoon here. Maybe gonna fly back into the main base once again. This is getting a little bit out of control here. He's done so much damage here in the main.
Yeah, I don't think JYJ can recover from here. He's lost so much mining time, so much SEVs. He's still losing tanks every now and then as well, so his tank count's getting reset a little bit as well while all his harassers going off. Now some vultures trying to pin down the Reaver into the corner, but still getting cleared up by the scarabs, and even the mines being taken out by the scarabs. So Mini just trying to like spend as much money on scarabs as he can, keeping this Reaver alive to cause an absolute nightmare situation for JYJ to handle. Meanwhile, his own economy back home looking stronger and stronger as time goes on, constantly producing probes, also taking our fourth base in the top left now. So Mini going to go in full macro swing, getting his Templar Archives, getting his tech online, and also still putting on a lot of pressure and forcing JYJ to think more defensively rather than growing himself.
It's funny, you know, this map at the beginning when it was first kind of released and shown in the pro scene, there was so many people abusing that high ground over the natural, but it slowly fell out of favor, and now it's kind of come back full circle here to where Mini and a lot of other players are utilizing that high ground to great effect. That was an awesome pick off there from JYJ, killing that Reaver, but I still feel like Mini is in complete control of this game. He's still got Dragoons on that high ground, just hilariously. I don't think they're gonna get any more damage, but they're just being super annoying.
Yeah, it's constantly keeping JYJ back in his base, not really able to put on much pressure, not really think about moving out anytime soon. There is another dropship coming down to the third base location with 2 siege tanks, but there's some cannons and a Dragoon there gonna actually make that really unsuccessful. He does get out with the dropship on like 1 HP. If there was one more Dragoon or photon cannon shot on the dropship, it would have gone down. So luckily he got out with the dropship at least and didn't lose everything for free. But Mini's just in such a great position right now, currently ahead 46 supply and getting this 4th base for free. Lots of pros being produced, going to be able to saturate that top left base now with a probe transfer as well. And with having full map control, Mini's like not scared of anything. So he's going to be pushing JYJ back more and more, forcing him to struggle on 2 base worth of production and not ever able to really secure his 3rd base. And when he does try and move out and take his 3rd base, Mini can just decide to crush him.
Doesn't have too many zealots right now, so this is a difficult army to fight. He will just be backing away as the siege ups come here. I think a large round of zealots though making its way to reinforce at this moment, and there it is. He's gonna get on top of this high ground before JYJ can get up here, and this is overwhelming. There's gonna be so much. Protoss coming down on top of this army. The siege up is a bit late. There's double Reaver as well, but it's not even needed right now. Zealots alone with the Dragoon, just a icing on top of the cake here, gonna take down this army. The tank count getting completely reset. GG. Mini takes him down and takes the first win for Protoss, starting the comeback here potentially. What are the chances that Mini just sweeps all these players out? Sometimes he does go, sometimes he gets on a hot streak, man. It's crazy. You know, he is a very inconsistent player, and sometimes he just has these moments where he can take down all the best players in the world. It's kind of crazy. We'll see if that's today is one of those days. That would be very, very impressive. But for now, he's got either Soma or Queen coming up in the next match. Let's jump on in. Match number 6 here, Queen versus Mini. We are cross maps on 76. Mini down here in the bottom right, mining that fastest mineral. Queen here in the top left, sending out a drone. Gonna take the forward natural here, the mineral only, with a ton of patches. He is gonna be dealing with potential double gateway.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be a 9-9 gate against like a 9 hatchery from Queen. He will have lava advantage from having such an early hatchery to help give him some more chance of holding on against this. That's one thing to think about. But it is proxy 2 gate, so it will be a lot of pressure. One thing to note is that this big, massive 76 in the middle of the map does increase the rush distances of those zealots getting there. So even though these are proxy gateways, it's still a relatively normal rush distance to still get to Queen's base, and it is a very tight choke to attack up to. But it also means that just a single zealot can lock out Queen from getting down into the natural to defend this hatchery. So it's very likely this hatchery may go down in this game unless Queen can maneuver his Zerglings flawlessly.
Yeah, he'll have to take control of that ramp as soon as possible. It's super, super important that he does that. Sending out a drone here for the scout. Not likely to find these gateways, but he will end up seeing that zealot crossing the map here. And yeah, you're right. This is a very long rush distance for these zealots to cross the map. Oh, I think the decaying vision of this drone just barely not gonna see the zealot coming in. That's a rough situation here for Queen. Has quite a bit of money. He needs to get these Zerglings built now. And a sunken colony on the way as well. A third base over in the top right. This is not what you want at this moment.
No, this is worst case scenario for Queen almost, having scouted this late. It still comes down to micro. It's possible that Mini makes a mistake here and Queen can capitalize. There is a second zealot meeting up with a third soon though. 6 Zerglings versus 3 zealots and a probe. The zealots will have the easier time of this with some good micro. Queen deciding to just run by with the Lings initially, I guess, maybe to try and intercept any additional zealots from coming in while trying to buy time for more Zerglings to be made. He doesn't want to let the other zealots join up with the rest of the group. He wants to catch it. Oh, but he's not going to catch it. Mini slipping on the left-hand side with the zealot. It might still get the surround on the zealot, but not quite able to catch it with the Zerglings, unfortunately. Or Queen there does finally get a good surround on the zealot and will chew down its HP to killing distance. But Queen in a bit of trouble right now. Mini putting on more and more damage on this natural hatchery.
Yeah, I think that the idea here from Queen is that, yeah, he's probably going to lose that hatch, but he has the hatch in the upper right. He'll build enough Zerglings to eventually kill this, but losing this hatch, it's painful. It's not the end of the world, though, potentially. He could still come back. Oh, the blocking!
Beautiful drone drill!
Oh my god!
Oh, that was so fucking... Sorry for my language. That was so fabulously flawless from Mini there.
That was insane. Queen getting on top of those zealots, making them bug out completely, just crushes that. Absolutely crushes it. And he keeps his natural alive as well. That is so insane. Zealot there on the ramp has to be dealt with. I don't know if Queen actually sees that at this moment. Otherwise, he would come back and deal with it. 2 more zealots are coming up here towards the natural. He could kill this hatchery. Oh my god, this is crazy.
There's 6 speedlings to defend. He may be able to delay the hatchery being sniped long enough while these speedlings run into the main base of, or try to run into the main base of Mini, but there are 2 zealots trying to plug the ramp, so going to be really hard for these lings to get up here. He can kind of 2-on-1 the lings, and unfortunately that means that the Queen going to be potentially losing this hatchery. It's got only 150 HP. More lings are popping out though, so maybe just barely able to save it, I think. Oh, it's going to be close. 2 more hits, doesn't get it. Oh, 24 HP on the hatchery.
He's got to get over here and kill this pylon. Kill the pylon, yeah. Getting up this ramp is a near impossibility with 2 zealots at the top. Just easily able to shut down any lings trying to get up there. Oh, a pylon over here at the left side. Maybe he's building a forge at home and gonna build a bunch of cannons on this high ground. That could be really, really smart. There's a zealot here on the ramp. This is a dirty play here from Mini, actually, if he gets cannons up over at that bottom left.
Okay, the Overlord needs to go into the main base of Mini right now and needs to drone drill the ramp of Mini. He needs to drill the main ramp. I think he's going for it. He's going to drill the ramp. Come on, Queen. No, go for it, Queen. Please go for it, Queen. Queen needs to drill this ramp. I think he might think that he can kill the Zealot anyway and doesn't need to drill. He's slowly targeting down the Zealot one at a time. It's on 8 HP, 1 HP. Oh, but the other Zealot, Shimmy's in front. This is he gets the Zealot.
Oh, the 2 zealot hits and the 1 probe hit, able to one-shot Lings 1 by 1 here. This is ridiculous. It's so hard to get up this ramp. It's insane.
I am telling you, the play here is for him to drone drill the ramp, but unfortunately, he's going to get in anyway. He's going to get anyway. The cannon's just barely not warped in. It's going down. He kills the cannon. The Zealot's now isolated on the left-hand side, going to be easily surrounded by the rest of the Zerglings, and now Mini's completely broken open. I really wanted to see the drone drill. I think he was going for it for a second. We saw 3 drones transferring from the top right going for it. And I think he then realized that one of the Zealots was low enough HP that he could then just make his way in with the busting it down. It was really crazy calculations that Queen managed to calculate that he didn't even need the drone drill and would barely get in before the cannon warped in. I can't even believe that he managed to map that out in his brain, but if he did, that's phenomenal. But I really wanted to see the drone drill either way. Killing so many probes right now is Queen. Cannon desperately trying to be warped in, and great drilling from the probes, going to be delaying the warp in long enough that he can get the cannon up. But there's so many Lings going to flood from north of the threshold, and there's not currently a surround on the cannon, so the cannon will get targeted down, it will fall, and then the rest of the probes are going to start to die in short order, Saiyan.
Okay, what does Mini do from here? Is he going to tap out, or is he going to send his probes to the bottom left? I guess he's just going to let all the probes die here. I don't think there's much hope left for Mini at this point. He GG's out.
GG.
Yeah, wow, what a crazy bust up the ramp. I feel like, actually, I don't think that he realized that he wasn't gonna make, or that he was able to break that ramp with just slings. I think he figured that he wasn't going to make it with the drones in time. Like, the cannon was gonna finish by the time those drones made it, so he just knew that he had to go with the Lings there. Crazy that he was able to break that ramp. That ramp was so dirty with that, like, the hole there was insane. He just 2 zealots and 1 probe kill a Ling in 1 hit, instant kill, and he still managed to get up there, getting like 1 hit per Ling. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I think if the real, like, Giga Brain play there from Mini would have been to build a shield battery on the ramp there. It warps in way faster. It can help to hold that ramp so well, because there's just no way you're gonna break that if you can keep healing those shields. It's just impossible.
Yeah, shield battery is like 20-second warp in time. They warp in so quickly. That would be definitely one way of just healing up that Zealot long enough to buy time. I still think the drone drill would have been the best play, because even if the cannon does finish, he had like floods of Zerglings. All you've got to do is get the ramp breached, and then you can just flood in. So I think that would have been a good backup play in case the Ling bust was a failure. But yeah, either way, he got in, so I'm happy that he managed to pull that off. That was phenomenal execution.
Yeah, really cool game there on 76. Now moving on to our next game, Protoss is eliminated. That is it for the Protoss. 0 points for them once again. Sad state of affairs here for the Pusagi race. We've got Light, our final Terran player here. He has to take out Queen in order to go to our final match. It'll be versus Soma. We'll find out if we make it there here. Coming up next, game number 7. Potentially the final game of the night. It's Light versus Queen. Light here in the bottom right, Queen in the top left. We are on retro. Very cool map. Very cool map. Want to see more of this in the future. It's part of the NSL, the Nom Star League, which I will be participating in. Shun as well. It's one of the first tournaments I've actually joined up with, so I'm pretty excited about it. And I'm excited to play on this map. It's very, very cool. We've seen some really fantastic games here where we've actually mined out the center. I think that was, I mean, I was never expecting that to happen. I thought that would be like a 1 in a million game, but we've actually had multiple games where this map is mined out. Just goes to show you what a cool and balanced map this is.
Well, it is a 12 base map. A lot of 4-player maps have 16 bases. This is one of the maps that has only 12 bases, and it's basically a remodel of Fighting Spirit. A lot more balanced than Fighting Spirit, I would personally say. And because of the nature of the base layout, controlling the center and getting that little bit of extra mineral mining does become relevant a lot of the cases with how the maps become divided up in the late game situations. It looks like we're going to see a little bit of a fake bunker rush coming out here from Light to see if we can get an overreaction from Queen, and looks like Queen not going to take the bait, and that bunker is just going to be cancelled instead.
Just showing you the importance of the drone scout in the early game. Queen sees that there's no Marines heading out in the wall there. Everything is, the hat has been tipped. Light has to cancel the bunker. If Queen didn't have that drone out on the map, he would have had to make at least some sort of reaction to that.
Yeah, not being forced to make lings and not having to pull any drones to deal with that's definitely a win for Queen. Any lost mining time there would have been really annoying for him to have to stomach, especially when there is no pressure coming his way. It would have put him a little bit behind economically. So looks like we're going to be going into a bit more of a standard game from these two players thus far. We see two Marines heading out to the 6 o'clock location, trying to intercept the Overlord that's currently moving down there. I think Queen is maybe anticipating that, has sent his Overlord on a very safe indirect route down to that location, and now Light going to be moving out on the map to try and see if he can find the Overlord in any other positions.
And Queen opting for the 3-hatch style. It's cool that this has come back into popularity as of late. I feel like it's a very strong play. It gives you a lot more options in the mid game. You could flood lings. You can try to kind of battle with the Terran player a little bit more. Try to take out groups of Marine medic on the in the middle of the map. I really like it. I've been messing around with it a bit myself, and it feels powerful, and I think Queen agrees with me. We'll see what kind of style he wants to play this game, but it's definitely going to involve a lot of early units.
Yeah, getting that kind of like 2.5 hatch style where you're still getting the 4-minute spire, but you've got that extra production of having that macro hatchery, so you can pump out a few more lings, a few more drones in the early game. Definitely puts you in a more commanding powerhouse situation. You're not as low economy and required to do damage with your meters, so definitely a very strong economic way to approach the mid game from here on, while also still having the map control and harass potential of the meters.
Yeah, and it will be a muta play here from Queen. Not going for anything too crazy, just a nice macro build here against Light. A lot of players would be scared, would be kind of frightened to take on Light in just a pure macro game. But Queen here, he's confident in his abilities. A early stim and a second stim here. Light gonna try and get here just before the Sunkens are done. The Sunkens do finish up though, and that was painful.
Yeah, if the Sunkens were a few seconds late, the advantage of the play that Light just did is that you can get the Sunkens low enough before they finish morphing that you can then bust. But the risk of that is if the Sunkens are on time, then the double stim means you'll start getting one shot by the Sunkens as they pop. So just like you took the bad end of that trade, and some speedlings actually going to be trying to move in to do some damage and pick off some Marines, not able to successfully do so. But right now the bio group of Light is kind of all over the place, and the medics are like off to the side. I think the problem with this map is it has some bad pathing. So as we see, the medics kind of went off to the 6 o'clock expansion, whereas the Marines went round the right side to the natural. So his medics kind of died for free there because of the bad map pathing. You do have to manually control your units a little bit on this map and make sure they go where you want them to.
Ooh, that's so painful. He's losing a huge amount of Marines here. You cannot be dropping this many Marines against Queen, who's gone 3 hatch. He is going to completely outproduce you. And I think I know exactly what happened there, Shin. And this has happened to me many times before when I used to play Terran a lot. Is he hit Stim and ran one of his units down to the bottom left. I think it was a fire bat. And the medics chased that instead of joining up with the Marines. So they were all clicked in the right direction, but the medics just got dragged.
Look at this phenomenal
so frustrating.
He's done such great because he picked up those 2 medics for free earlier. He was then like able to just hold shot down the rest of the Marines. Usually you need quite a lot of muters to hold shot and kill multiple Marines simultaneously, but when there's no medics healing the Marines back up to full HP, even with low muter count, you can start splashing down 2 to 3 Marines at a time. So now looks like Queen going to be putting on full pressure in the main base and going to be committing a Light to have to GG here.
Wow. Queen just making Light look terrible in that game. My God. That's just sometimes how it goes, though, you know? One mistake leads to another, We had that really early stim, that double stim to try and break the natural. That was a mistake that led to him having to flee across the map, which led to those 2 medics just chasing that fire bat down to the bottom left, which led to medics dying and all of those Marines dying and eventually into a loss. That's a painful way to go down and kind of an anticlimax for this series, but that is the end, my friends. Light is eliminated. Queen takes him down and ends this series in favor of the Zergs. Another big win here. We're going to go to check out the score screen, see where we're at here after week number 3. Well, that's it for this week of KCM. Here's your point rankings. Terran taking a single point there. Zerg with 2 more points, up to 5 now. And Protoss, just a complete flat line, like beep. No life whatsoever, except for Mini. Mini pulled out some good games there.
Yeah, Mini played pretty well. I was happy to see him in a better emotional form. Sometimes you do tend to see him like not really show up and like fall apart mentally, but when he does show up, he plays so phenomenally well.
Yeah, I thought he was actually going to take that game on 76 with the 2 zealots on the ramp with the probe. That was just such a good position. I can't believe he got busted. Even with that spot, just crazy good from Queen. Unfortunate Light went down in such a fashion. We were just joking about the sort of unfortunate series of events there that led to his eventual downfall. But you just can't make those mistakes against Queen.
No, as soon as your bio is split up even slightly, if there's one single exposed medic, that's all it takes for someone like Queen to get a small edge and then can just snowball it out of control from there. As soon as he gets on top of the Terran production and is killing Marines as they're popping out, it's over.
Yeah, and he didn't even need to do that. He just got into that tight little corner there, killing off SCV after SCV, and every Marine that was sent was just not enough. Well, it was a great week, guys. I'm going to throw an anti-spoiler on the end of this. This is a audible reminder to myself because I forgot last week, but we will throw an anti-spoiler on this one. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Shun, thank you to you as well. Guys, go check out his channel. Make sure to subscribe here as well. I'll see you guys in the next cast. Here's the scale when I need us. The differ in observation. He's in our soul, just with us last low. He's consider it. She might be illegal, but the such thing is that her English is not. All the loss, so we mean all the loss. This is absent in their aster from the show, just look up. Revenge. Or standing not circle give out. I'll break 80 register it's no struggle backer than the night or the night is no moose snicking. Well, freaking him on me, she's the deep CCM. No struggle, that's it. Really, outfits in my previous and that lower when the circle of the law. Circle and all this stuff.
Mer flest alien viam and over and that's no hide north and gives no started along a sibu you win healer asking them singing emission thoughts and a question and that vanishes me either all off as I but there always don't see land area going to leave as he up but they'll right else all be up the seal of you stole in was night and that's so much you can do over that circle at see the video snap helen no business mixing a there but talking it was da and like there wasn't well was this here but that's about you know there wasn't it's nu sprang jag med outfit sitt långa lite ord när wait minute on board see så jag kan göra skip för ingen rock det på som inget så man ser det så nu new server då ja
Det var så snickle så I never snart opposite said up north and then I knew explorers but all Larry thought I can actually rose or opposite your marriage now on it all I might sit the nick I'm in the nesting certain of it as near middle long you bought oil ran that law wheeler how stem as the double what I gotta go hit earth that are here for rope so and so do or stand in the woman the scar find it in the spot that if they go down the house and that fell in there work it out she is near him in the shower she was good send us earlier because you are on legacy house and that fell it for and there was so sneakle suspicious and shallows and yellows there battle what this
ja und noch bisschen Orst laufen von mir sie wo stops and there's slow rollers and then doesn't move start but very sharp but starts in the wire lauf at the extra line aber das the stops ist jetzt am sehr so die Opposition von nach das Opposition nicht kann ich habe nicht so eine Schach so wie im nicht kann also ich immer da alle on sehen das gerade gerade bist du immer noch ist hier eine Opposition auf so low refused of me ich was it's
Snap, eat the position and the famous soccer outfit that again exilers and say I'll be here for that little listen to me that little larval or nicky fit in that circle was not as not how does it this not or from this not or some was in the circle and you did every evening unless I never see the outfit here we lost it here them and I'm gonna see there there's no this not your side the absolute stuff so there's knitting nasty sneak Either was no process so you have either no even give I now but not of it
مش إذا كوبي فون رومان إذا نتكلم ميس إذا سأكر مية كده نقول لك ألبير فوق فتير مية بس إني تعطي نجت ماست أجي بي إم فير من دوس هن إيش نفهم بس إذا تعرف ليدر بي بس وير وش نحتف ماستر دوس وراء زوس هتي
well no you're right if yeah and that little resource now is not so see now mix it is not exciting it yeah very sheer we been a gun is not such there but for getting there circle vision up man is yeah in was such certain regular stand this no worry must just nickels yeah stand our room that's a little fair it's him and you know me hey look yeah run a scenario this is the one I was off circles hurry he didn't nickels yeah
Yes, det var uppspöker. Den är så man det så så uppsett någon mål själv mer. Den det är på vi om vad så det uppsett egen vant så inte tack. Jag så just inte så no business. I know så alls det är så det är on the for house name lock is in jag. Jag så upp för så funding kan bli lätt så skulle vi just en egen vant jag var bara det gör det så ska jag skulle ja, ich så ju jag förstår on use face det alla när jag ser upp det ger upp sitt option snäget då vad så det ser stil för Skype står on use det on alltså tjena helt ju så det snart kan det se det ska från Skype det gör bestämt
Stämmer inte nog big nixel vet man and then that a very snow the almost fuck if me in unless Wow, so standing in the area, come out, gonna go up then. He'll see on the really real one get the rest of but existed. Hello, there, there's yeah, Alex, and it's such function. Oops, that's right, no, no, it's now, hello, snores, Miss Alex, they're all Miss Alex. She might miss it, see me, but there's no gonna, we are there, see, there's no yoga that runs. Ja, opzet. There is so long as
مش ده بدأ بيركز يجيب بتصرف كأي مثالي هو هنوم مش نع تشتوف يجيب بدس نوع نوع عايز نجيب مش نبي بصوف شيء إلى زر صوف أبزي بنعرف أنش كان يستعرش دوكس دول بيان نسنيرش ده ضل أنا عادي يركب بعد سيل بربي صوف سكين مثلا دي نجاز الورشة نضل أكناس نيجي دوان كاس دفعنا أجيبه Slan Aircraft Classier in our shark on Sierra Nges Asir, he plays over slow pair of fish that the girl is so we tell the RFZ. Girl keeps the help that that's enough. He's not so and the looking at I girl says get the fed up. Wishing it to see a sleep, slow bit of I women on the week while sleep, slow bit of Nixie and the Xene and the nervous. I.
Ekman op zero dat. Heel uit voor een exhibition aan was er daar armation of niet niet dat maar. En de schaar vrienden is niet meer zeer durf. Het is wel hij zegt er op zo'n. Nee, is de saag is net wel over de loorstaan en er is stap maar ik niet dat werkt op en dat stap betekent ik kan niet.
Om je nog op en wat stap dat ik dat die marketing is dat er aan de CF of was me yes even een schakel. Starcraft Broodwar negus yn yr jirfach y soaps yn gyda heel fies am yn oed yw bys yn ddiwala yn edd y soaps mas gen dych i fy sŵr yn sa yw'r stahar am yna mi eisiau nysio lefenda o gyn eisiau yn eisiau ngad sydd yn tel mynd oed yn eisiau gath y ffogit fyrig sy'n eisiau gael sy'n eisiau nyr'r sirf sy'n
Hey, there all me engineers so was this in them and this guy afraid there's the I was on the rural and ours no Zulu gosh this is yeah it's just not Zulu on and for Synixy or else and it's the every narrow fecal system but all but this very idea with all so yeah how this now but look you guys your own minister manders yeah how that is like you and now yeah that are this guy Nemo maybe I'm sick absolutely making up solid all listed on there come up and I read the CV set Yes, that's the EV set, so if we fail, was little beam inside, or what's the one they're working on? Fanax or you know, but on a radar steam meet up working up at Vagnetic Gun. Why, fuck, I've been exceeding the lemon off of his nursing little little you just no machine. Sierra, so there was no finally still what finally. Little refreshing imagine fun that you will work up and shot and I. Sneer zie de famous knockers like you said. Come up, but there is need to receive you say on your flop but see heel serious. Yes, but you sir. Yeah, how all that
Series en uit dans nerven op zit op nooit sabi de boost der as a person fast able to look rush sit on the pure soul of my circuit that up and up so you should floor of please the bit but the will e be lobino and the scar for you even if so observe in the cast that give me so going me after feel like here be boost or please the 20 years live number in the but also please do see like bounce start slow we not for the sharp missing so yeah now misery spare up the cattle but I guess I see the knock either we get slow overnight.
Of neer was zo, zijn er schaar voor hem nog in the middle boys. Like no, no boys getting this area here slower than no, so I'm making this near must slow. Even if you set now for the cat. Red lawyers. Sen, are for slick booster. Imagine no more singing. Ja, wanneer je hier gaat. Dan get now and then get fill. Is die meisje, ik kan ook zien dat het dan niet los zien en dan er je mag meer snel verder en al je ciffers. Fun en aan ciffers dat wordt niet helpen. Nou, zijn jullie nog eens op zien maar als je wat er knap met de naast de nieuwe die wie zet dat zo los.
Well, I'll back for get this open and up from our sharp, but I believe they should match on these six and that they went to power could they picking up sick of the help rest the nights up the way it on was invested. Me, woman, notion inches, young be past the sick up and now just snare and working up basically about settled with an accent or in your voice get paid but it's in our schooling is just needs you to get in the sky by him not him on the game years and the heater even exit. Knowing your ex om nog likes and you know and where market will sound this is serious no new the first get even episode that always gosh that who's that's not the girl on a best sit as in the studio van daar that when that die live reader was so ja het ja business van our starts and you'll guys that way is next is yeah it's a mistake
Hey, he's sneaking me now, but he's sneaking. Hey, sneaking.
that's it. It's niet alles able dat op zijn manier is ook het eerste.
Hoe is dit hoos zit nou maar nou Steve is heel rap nou Steve ik zeg stof wat de hier slum deze caps gaan zo uit. Wow.
Maar is weer voor niet oh wat is niet ben ik zo.
Yes. Precies, perfect. Die is niet maar zelfs de lamps en los hij eigenlijk heel zo maar het is niet niet is en zie niet als een observer nou dus daar is niet aan dat meer is een observer en ik heb heel bedacht daar is die ben ik als een ex wel ik doe een airperson naam dan is hij de wie heeft carbon op zo even de woord en dan de earth naam dat is dat die we hey
Nou zit nou zelf als die hem schouwers like snor doen het wel maar al naar je café dan word je heel maar van je mag heel kwiekjes te willen waar hoe is het dus er ook ze snaak ook hang it in the sky no scan of the snow let it get looks like it's as if it was and sure off if you will was ja
belasting smear sharpen on heel ouder precies gaat blind up but no is pas kan weer zo aan het gaat neer chefs is maar al lang het zo of dus nou ja dat is nou en geld was ook niet zo of iets dat ook daar meer zo bij hem of meer weer wat zo maar elke joh
er al wel er van weer spots maar well my restriction in heel look oh I think I steal in fact dus je heel snel geen meer snifty meer wel years man hier ze met hier ja en dus of ik nou niet as right hier worden de masters doen fell past in the lure er nog een heer maar al ben ik hier in de schaat ze serve heel rehuge sturmen me nimmer is niet de lees
look away is you doing and let's get from out to your side map about the show what's it if I give it Wat ook zit wel wat zien en er ook een doe je ze weer af kan ook zitten nog en hier rocks het no niet dat nee is joh